this is ninth grade. We just, Aiden just made the point that why did the Richardsons trust that they won't be? Do you have an answer to that? Or anybody have an answer to that? Why do the Richardsons think that they might be the exception to that, piece, that rule? Yeah.
Because they have, like, God on their side, I guess. And this whole time they've been kind of having his problems. So they do have weapons.
They have guns?
And things they can trade.
Wait a minute, they're taking what?
Trade with them.
So they have, what were you, are you gonna answer that?
Oh, no, I have something technically on the topic.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, I was thinking about when John told the story of Judas and how he portrayed Jesus and how they all cheered for like Judas as a hero. I thought that was like really just kind of interesting, but they just kind of idealize Judas as like a hero to them. Idolize.
Yeah. Are you aware that there are people in our culture, and maybe lots of people that would say some of the things that you and I would agree as are just, this is true and this is the right way to do things, would say that we're wrong. I think we're in a place where a lot of the things you and I might believe, other people are calling bad. In other words, they're calling what we know is good bad and what we know is bad good. So that is strange, but I think it's happening. And just go back to your point, you mentioned that they had things to trade. I think they kind of didn't worship Don, but they were Tuans, so they're kind of a little bit scary of them. And they were, Don and his family were good for them. They were good things were happening, like you said. So they were kind of like a prize to hold on to. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how with kind of like the Peace Child and stuff, it helped him figure out, because he was having a hard time figuring out how to break through to them because of the Judas thing. He's like, we don't have anything like in common that will help me break through and tell them that Jesus is the good one, not Judas. And with the Peace Child, he learned that they praise that and then that's a good thing to bring peace. So then he's probably thinking that Jesus, he can call the Peace Child because when he saw the whole.
So even this culture, which is so different than anything he'd ever experienced, they had a redemptive analogy.
And
They had
it's kind of like God
something.
put that there a while ago because he knew that this
That's
would
right.
come, I guess.
I like that. Yes.
I thought it was interesting how they had like a really descriptive language for such like a barbaric culture and stuff. Because like they had a bunch of different words for the same word, but just in different like contexts. Like he was saying, you open the door and you open their mouth, and it's two different things and stuff.
Can you imagine learning another language the way the Richardsons had to learn it? Like,
And it was like-
no written language, no
Yeah.
interpreter.
And
That's what
everything
it
was
feels like
speaking.
when-
sort
Yeah,
of.
everything's spoken. Nothing
like
is
the
written.
rock, like, I don't know.
Nothing's written down. Julie.
I was gonna go back to.
All right, hang on, Julie.
I was gonna go back to Aiden's point and say that, maybe one of the reasons why the Richardsons thought that they were, I don't know, safe from that was because they were healing people. Like they had the medicine and they were
That's
giving people treatments.
Forgot about that. They had more than just trinkets to share. They actually had life-healing medicine. Did you have something, Amanda?
What was the thing where they're like trying to stab each other so that they could go on the plane?
No.
He got
Oh,
the
that
arrows.
was the thing where they made the deal where, we'll
No,
just, he's like, hurt each other so we can find out where that other guy went.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because his brother went on a plane and then went to a hospital, and he's like, they killed me while I was asleep, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that?
Yes.
I thought it was interesting how, because
Hang on, guys.
they believe in all these like devils and bad spirits and stuff, and how that they see as it like can still go into the womb, but like if you have twins, then they have to kill one, and that was pretty interesting.
Did any of you get the connection? She said even a mother's womb is not safe from Satan's, I wrote it down, from Satan's intervention or something, Satan's power. Does that not make you think of something?
The twins, Esau, or is his name Esau?
Did you hear that? One of the most unsafe place in America is a baby in his mother's womb. And once he gets born, we still have laws about killing children. But before he's born, we have laws protecting killing children. So that are we that much more advanced than these? They would try to kill, they wouldn't even kill it in the womb, they would kill the baby when he was born. We don't wait that long, we can kill them before they're born.
Are you gonna tell when it's gonna be twins?
They probably.
Like,
You mean them, those people, or us?
Like them? I feel like they'll be a bit like twice the size.
That's usually the case. I think, yeah, a mother usually is bigger.
Well, I think you have more of a premature birth with twins, so they probably.
That's probably true. Olivia, anything? We can come back to you if you
No,
still.
like, okay. Why did he make his house like in the middle? Like, I don't know. His house was like between the tribes. Was that? Okay, go ahead.
So I think he did that because, well, the tribes weren't there in the beginning. It was an abandoned village, but then they all came and kind of built around him. But they were gonna make it permanent
Why were they trying to gather around the Richardsons?
because they wanted all their stuff.
And why was that a problem?
Because
They
if
would
they
fight.
were all together, they would fight.
And they were
It's-
enemies.
And so he figured out, why do these tribes separate themselves so they won't
Fight.
kill each other? That's right. So he was actually creating the problem by, well, he wasn't asking them to come, but he was allowing them to live so close together. They're safer when they're apart.
And the mac and cheese was really funny to me.
The brains,
That
yeah.
was hilarious. They never really expanded on that. They were like,
I really wanted to expand it.
I was,
They still think they're eating too
we
much.
saw a missionary at our church. She's a missionary to Ethiopia, and she's actually a Wycliffe translator. So she translates the Bible from from English to their language, whatever that is. But she said that's one of the things that is eaten there, and it's even eaten here, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't brains, like cow brains?
Cultures, people eat brains.
But even in our culture, it's not like a delicacy, is it? Or is it?
Well, it's mostly like imported
Brains
delicacies.
contain like.
Okay, but it's important, yes, that's
Back, I forgot, wait, when was this book set? I forgot.
1962.
So was it called abortion at that time?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's just the technical word for it, but it was illegal.
Okay.
It wasn't legal till 1973.
That's Roe versus Wade.
And since then, 50 to 60 million American babies have been killed. I mean, if you were born in 1973, you would be how old? 73, 83, 93? Apologize, I can't do it any other way. 2003, 2013, 49 years old. You'd be 50 years old almost. And you're in a career, you have children, you might even have grandchildren, but they didn't. Yeah, over here.
So I do have a bit of a problem with Richardson or whatever his name is.
That is his name.
Oh, yes, Richard, I was right, with Don, is I know he was here for like Christian stuff. but
You mean
No,
in-
him.
Yeah, but in Greensboro?
Well, no, I mean, like, I know he was out of the Saudi.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I know he was there for Christian stuff. But it would have been nice if he had tried to catalog the mythology or whatever, because I think it could be beneficial to other mission stuff to like understand just how a primitive culture develops a religion.
Yeah.
Because we don't get to see that stuff. And
That's
he
a-
kind of has obliterated any possible chance of learning that.
Well, how did he do? Oh, you mean by saving him?
Like, well, obviously, it's good, I'm glad he saved them, but I
No.
wish before he had done that, he
Well, you could probably still do that, because they could probably still,
Oh, this was the sixties, so it was
Yeah.
not that long ago.
before you get to, let's go to, hey,
I thought it was, good that Don Richardson wanted to convert like that current generation instead of like just kind of throwing them all in schools and hoping that their kids convert later on.
okay, that's a good point. Yes.
When he was starting to like, I guess preach to them, and they were kind of like just listening in awe, I was like, oh, this is gonna actually be a little easier for him, like once he knows the language to
Yeah.
like teach them and everything, because they just will believe pretty much anything. But then when he started talking about Judas, that was when I was like, oh, it actually won't be, because they're so much more different and they have such a different culture. And I didn't realize that until that part, because I was like, they're gonna actually probably understand quicker than I was thinking.
Yeah, just because they're not Westerners doesn't mean they're not smart. You know, they're just as smart as anybody else. They just don't have some of the things we have, but they're extremely smart, just like any human being would be. Yeah.
I thought it was weird the way that they raised their children to be like violent
Yeah, that's, yeah, a good, very good point. Charlotte?
One thing that I asked this like when we had the last discussion, but like, cause it talks a little bit more about it in like the second part, but like how, the whole theme of the book is like peace child. One thing that I was, like, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention to it, but like, I know that they sacrifice or a child for peace.
You would give it away, you would actually kill the child, but you
That's
would give it
one thing that
away.
I still, like, how does that establish peace? Like, is it?
Okay. I'm not sure we know all of that
They're
yet.
not
Because
necessarily-
they're both kinds are like trading babies, like you get one from the opposite tribe and you get, but the thing was is that in order for this, I think for this part, because they wanted Richardson to stay, the deal was like, yeah, they could trade babies, but the condition was if one of the babies died, the peace would be like broken forever, not temporary, but forever. So in order for like them to, for Richardson's to stay and for everything to stay in peace, they had to trade the babies and have that like condition.
And that existed though, even before Don got there, that idea of the peace child, yes.
I thought it was interesting how they would treat their wives.
Terrible.
It's not really bad, but like it seemed like in a way they kind of didn't try to stop it.
No? You mean Don Richardson or the?
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't
Well,
know.
not like Don Richardson, he's like separate. Yeah, Don Richardson,
He
he's like,
can't-
what you doing? See, I can be with one, why can't you? And then the guy ended up getting like injured, but you know.
But also, it was
fixed
like,
it.
he was talking about when he was like telling the guy to stop doing what he was doing, he brought up, I don't know their name for it, but it was the guy that was kinda like saying, he's like, if you do this, then this guy's gonna punish you or something like
No,
that.
it was his word for God, the greatest spirit. It was like mighty road.
Yeah.
The greatest spirit.
Okay, does that help? I'm not sure what you're asking,
But they
but,
said that like that guy would punish them. So I
Oh.
thought that was.
Well,
good.
you're saying he didn't like
God
it.
would see that, like.
all right, maybe the last one we can hear from, right here.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yes. I was thinking about kind of how much of a sacrifice that probably was, the giving up of the peace child. Because I know it's just kind of like they treat the babies like property or whatever. But like,
Hang on.
like it was interesting. I think it was very cool how humanizing it was because they kind of, a lot of this with like the eating people portrays them like monsters or animals.
But they
But
showed
how human they were being treated. Also, that probably ruined that poor guy's marriage.
I'm sorry, which guy you talking about?
The guy gave his peace child.
Oh, yes.
Like his marriage has to.
Well, remember, he has total ownership of the wife. She doesn't have a lot of say,
I just meant
so.
like he walks in, she'll probably really have to start.
I would say so, yeah. We have 4 minutes. I just want to point out one thing. Yeah, go ahead.
So just back to what Charlotte was asking, like the baby is like really important, you know, and the moms were, really distressed when the fathers were trying to trade them and stuff, but they just thought that like, if someone could give up something as precious as a baby, then that meant that they could be trusted, so the trading of the babies.
Did you hear that? That's a really good explanation, and that is in the book,
And
so.
in part one, when the two ons were coming, one guy was showing off his, like, the machete, I think, that he got from the two ons. And the other people were going to, like, ask, to trade things for it, but before they asked, he said that he traded one of his kids for the, weapon, so then they were all like, oh, like, we're not gonna take away that value, you know, like.
Now, who did he trade? Another child?
Like,
I think
he.
He certainly didn't give it to the Dutch.
No, he gave the baby to the Dutch.
He did, yeah, he traded his baby.
But they took him?
Maybe they gave the extra tribe.
No, I think it
No,
was, they gave the machetes to like a tribe and then he went and traded his child for someone from the.
That could have been it, but.
All right.
don't
I hope
think they
so,
went into
because-
that much detail.
Yeah.
What are the Dutch gonna do with him? Random guy's baby.
That's a good point, yeah. Gonna raise him, I guess.
I guess, I hope.
Sounds like a movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That's the book.
Right, good job. We haven't heard from everybody. We're not quite ready to leave, but you have about a week. That means Next Wednesday, you need to be reading the last section of the book.
What is the last section do?
Wednesday be the 16th.
I like it.
Are you okay? She doesn't say.
Hi.
What's up?